Naz, please. So we're going to stay away from indices, and unless you're a stage 3 trader, I would also recommend that. It's just a very unique process. It's a very unique process. But it all depends on the stage, and I know most people are not going to be in a position that they should be trading that stuff. And that stuff is just all fresh in my mind because we just dove deep into a lot of that stuff for the modules for EFXU, the whole process of back testing your trade journals, your charts, your market biofeedback, using a SWOT analysis, showing a step-by-step flow chart, and then the approach to every single stage and how to back test and what the objectives are. So that stuff is just so important, and most people really get that mixed up and wonder why it's not just the pairs either. It's the approach, it's the time frame, it's the mindset that leaves people in one spot with their wheels spinning and wondering why they're just not getting moving forward. Does anybody relate to that? You feel like you get it? You feel like you understand a lot of the components, but you just can't get any traction? 9.5 times out of 10, it's the approach that you're using. And then what happens is people end up going down this rabbit hole thinking that they need more information, that more or different or a different perspective of market information or market knowledge is going to be that thing that flicks that switch. Everything makes sense. I'm seeing profits, and I'm good. And it's not. It's really not. I'm wondering if there are more Latinos here. I'm from Colombia. So this is a pretty big community. We have people from every corner of the world. We have a big UK base. That's probably the biggest. A lot of people in Australia. Yeah, so I'm sure there is. We have people from all over. Currently living in New Jersey. Nice. That's kind of close to where I just came from, up in Boston. I'm in North Carolina now. That's just one of the most important things. And I honestly, like, I wouldn't even be opposed to talking about that today. I really wouldn't. But I'm not seeing too many, and this is the time too, really, like if we do stuff like this and we freestyle calls, Aaron is right. I mean, a lot of these calls end up being some of the best calls, but you really got to raise your hand. If there's something that you don't understand, if you're stuck, if you're trying to bridge the gap of knowing what to do and the results that you're trying to achieve, but you can't, or you don't know where to find that bridge, or there's just a certain thing that you're not understanding, like there's no stupid questions here. You got to ask. Take advantage of the time that you have with me. Personally, I've been really struggling with directional bias, but I think my trading plan and journal is on point. Been trading 2 years, feeling discouraged, need a bridge. I see buys and sells. Well, I'll tell you this. The reason why there is such a high percentage of people who come in, and regardless if it's this community or a different community and whatever strategy or person, it could be different people that they're learning from. It might be the same strategy, just different people that they're learning from. The reason that there's such a high percentage of people who come in, and you might be very knowledgeable about the strategy. You might have a really good grasp on market structure. You might have years of experience under your belt. You might be able to easily pull up a chart and mark things up. You might be able to know what all the find manipulation, identify structure, clear targets, daily, weekly, monthly directional bias, no problem. Does anybody know the reason why most people like that I just described have trouble actually getting traction with their results and find themselves just getting stuck in stage one, stage two. When I'm talking about the different stages of a trader, I refer to it as the evolution of a trader, and that there's stages that every single trader goes through, right? You don't just learn information and become a profitable trader. So I'm talking about stage one is ground floor. You don't know what you don't know yet. Stage two is that neutral zone where you're protecting your capital, you're developing your trader's mindset, you're extracting your strengths and your weaknesses, and you're making changes. And then you move into that neutral zone where now you're not losing, but now you see your profits kind of maybe hovering around a -5, +5 buffer zone, you know, and not losing, but not really gaining traction either. And then that third stage is profitable. And then the fourth stage from there is just kind of an optional thing, where it's then scaling and optimizing. I want to, I guess I could share this. This is, well, no, I mean, yeah, the mindset's a part of it. You know, of course, there's fears, and emotions are a big part of it. And that is something that most people don't address. Most people don't know what a market biofeedback is. They don't use it, or they don't know how to back test it, or just don't do it at all. But it's the approach, right? And I talked about it today briefly in the chat. Everybody is so different. You know, the way that we approach the market, the way that we look at the market, our opinions, you know, our belief systems, our personalities, our trading styles, our risk. You know, how somebody might be very aggressive, somebody might be more conservative, somebody might be in the middle. There might be people that are really good on looking on the buy side of things. There might be somebody that looks, you know, can see the sell side of things really well. There might be somebody who sees, you know, certain manipulation and flag patterns easier, and can't find bypass patterns, can't find signature patterns, whatever it might be, right? Everybody, you know, you can have multiple people who are successful traders come in and look at a chart, and you can have multiple different ideas, right? And I talked about it today. I had Brooks, my trading partner. If you don't ever heard me mention Brooks, Brooks is my trading partner. He's not a part of this community. He's not even really on social media. He's just one of my really good friends, and he's my primary investor. We also trade together. He's the one that put me on to multiple seven-figure accounts. He sent me a list of pairs that he was looking at. And before he sent the charts to me, he just told me he was looking at like an AU in the time frame, GA in the time frame. I think it was like Euro odd. I don't know. There was 4 of them, and he just told me the pair and the time frame. So I quickly jumped on a trading view and I looked at those pairs, and then I came back and I said, is it the EA short? Is it the GA short, AU long, and AU long? And he had the opposite on every single pair except for one. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? We're talking about 2 multi-7-figure traders who trade successfully for years. We traded together for quite some time now, going on almost 2 years, right? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Because it doesn't mean, you know, if we pull something up and I look at it and I think it's a sell and he thinks it's a buy, and I sent the conversation between him and I into the Discord today, and I showed him saying the pairs, the time frames, and me asking if this is what he was looking at. This is what he's looking at, and then he said no, it was the opposite. And that doesn't mean that either of us was right or wrong, right? I mean, because neither of us know what's going to happen. Everything's a random distribution of wins and losses, right? Everything. But it doesn't mean that I'm right or that I'm wrong. It just means that we have completely different trade plans. And how did we get to the trade plans that we have that prove to have a positive outcome or a positive expectancy over time? How do we get to that point? From looking at ourselves, looking at what we see. It's basically taking your education and your learning, and you apply it, and you hit the charts and you apply it to the best of your ability. But the most important part is documenting every aspect of how you're marking up charts, how you're executing charts, and your mindset before, while you're analyzing, before you trigger the trade, while you're in the trade, and then the exit, right? Identifying any type of emotions that might be present, and then getting to the root of it, why those emotions are there, and then what actions are those emotions causing me to perform, right? Is it, you know, impulsive negative behaviors from emotions that are making me do what I'm not supposed to be doing? But regardless, it's, we analyze everything, every aspect of what we're doing, and we take our strengths and weaknesses using a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a technique that every single high-level successful company just about in the world uses a SWOT analysis. And that's a fact. We have a company that runs one on our company weekly and monthly. We pay them thousands of dollars to analyze our company and extract our strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. But this can also be applied to people, organizations, and trading. And that through that process is all of those things extracted, edits made to the next trade plan or the current trade plan, and then applied to see how those, you know, those results shake out in the market, on the execution. Now that we've found our strengths and weaknesses, extracted it, made the edits to the trade plan, and then applied it. And then it's rinse and repeat. But having the right mindset going into each, you know, recording and application, right? Depending if you're a stage 1 trader, it's a completely different mindset than stage 2 and stage 3 and stage 4. Right? And then based on these things, you build a trade plan with a positive expectancy over a large sample size that is custom fit to you, what you see, your personality. This is how you find your identity as a trader. This is how you find your style. This is how you find your unique edge within the strategy, right? And then that's why when Brooks and I, you can say, hey, you two right now, pull up New Zealand JPY, both mark it up, and we'll have different setups. And usually, even if there is something that we're both looking at, there'll be different stop losses, entry techniques, and targets, and ways that we're going to actually execute it and manage it. Does that make sense? I'm going to share something with you guys. Like, and I want you to understand, like, what I'm talking about right now is detrimental to your success. Like, this process is the only way that you're going to get to where you want to go as a trader. This is how marketers, this is how athletes, this is how companies start at a ground floor foundational level and build high level success. Athletes record, practice, games, opponents, and then study tape. Scientists do the same thing. Doctors do the same thing. Companies do the same thing. Everything is built on KPIs. Everything. Like our company, right? If you have multiple products, which ones are selling? What's the average lifetime of a customer? What's the abandonment rate, card abandonment rate percentage, right? What's your lead per what's your lead cost per customer, cost per lead? Right? You need to know these numbers, and then you extract that stuff, and then you pick out what works and what doesn't work. It's you know, so I'm going to share something with you, and it's a roadmap. The training on all of this stuff that I'm talking about, it's in the Discord, it's in the trading models, it's in these recordings, but this is going to give you a visual. You guys want to see this visual roadmap? Drop a 2 in the chat if you want to see it. Here we go. Okay. You all see that? What you're seeing in front of you right now is probably going to be the most important thing for you to follow as for somebody that wants to be, what are your goals as a trader? I think if you're in this community, you want to make some level of money consistently from trading, whether that's enough money to just supplement your income, whether that's enough money to just quit your job, or whether that's a level of FU money that you want to make. Whatever it is, if it's high level success, medium, or whatever it is, this is what's going to get you there. This is a roadmap to reaching what I call trading nirvana. Trading nirvana is the end goal. That is having the pieces put together. So let me pull up my mouse highlighter really quickly. So this is where we start here. And this is the process that you need to follow. If you are trying to achieve your goal, whatever your goal is, you insert it here where it says trading nirvana, whatever that looks like for you, that's where you're trying to go. And in order to get there, there is a roadmap. This is your roadmap. These are the directions to get to whatever you want to accomplish. And you start here. And when you, let's say you're, who here is brand new to this community? Maybe you're in here for a week or 30 days or less. If that's you, drop a 7 in the chat. And if regardless if you're new or if you've been in this community for a long time, this is what's going to get you to where you want to go. It's the most important thing that you need to follow in having the right approach. If you want a blueprint, this is your blueprint. If you want high-level success as a trader, this is the roadmap. We start here, and we'll walk through this really quickly. We start here, and you come in, you get acquainted, you figure out where everything is, you figure out the schedule of these calls and where the recordings are and where the group chat is and all that stuff, right? You get acclimated. Then you start consuming the educational material, whether that's the trading model, whether that's recordings, or the live calls, or a combination. From there, you just take action. It doesn't matter how well you understand something, you just take action. You're gaining experience. When you take action, right? It's not, I'm just gonna learn this stuff and jump on some trainings and then mark up charts and execute trades and record them and just see what the end result is. And I do that until I get profitable. Who thinks that's, who here was taught that way? You get on a demo account, you learn the course, or you watch the trainings, you figure out how to do it, and then you just jump on the charts and you mark it up and you execute those trades on a demo, and then you repeat this process until you see favorable results. And then those favorable results equal you transitioning from a demo account to a live account. Who here was taught that that was the way to find success as a trader? It's a Hail Mary. That's what that is. That's a wish. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing this. The reason why a lot of people aren't successful traders, yes, we can point things at mindset and emotions and all those different things, right? But you need to be able to, you need to really be able to follow a structured path that is a machine. You're essentially building a machine, and you need to figure out where your weak spots are. You need to figure out what you're doing well, what you see, right? The markets you trade well in, the sessions, the time of the month, whatever it is. And the reason why people don't want to get, or they start here, and then they do this, and then they take action, and then they look for results, and then they think that's going to take them to stage 3, profitable, or over here, and bypass all of this. The reason for it is because this is time consuming, and it's tedious, and it's a pain in the ass to do, but it's what's required. It's required. Same thing with, it's the same approach to building a company. It's the same approach to building a company. We have flow charts, we have SWOT analysis, you name it. We have advisors. We do this. We've been doing this since day one, not just with our trading business, but with our actual EFX business. In the other business, any other high-level successful business or trader, right? It's building a machine. And here's the thing: this process, it's temporary. It's not like I go through this now. This was to get me to trading nirvana. And then, you know, of course, we have the stage 4, which is scaling and optimization, right? That's more of an optional thing. But, you know, to the extent now it's more, I take action, I record things, and then I review, because I want to be able to, you know, because I'm not immune to losing streaks. I'm not immune to challenges in my everyday life that can affect my head, my focus, and my emotions. So I want to be able to record things, monitor my strengths and weaknesses, keep myself accountable. And if something were to ever happen, like a losing streak, or, you know, as the market or myself evolve, I want to be able to put a finger on it. And I want to make sure my numbers are up to par, right? So it's a different level, but this here is temporary, right? It's a vigorous process, but then once you get there, right, you get to that other side, that's what doesn't suck. That's what's not tedious, right? That's where you want to go. This is how you get there. So really quickly, we start here. You come into this community and you start consuming the education. From there, you take action. But if you notice, next to take action, it's insert approach based on what stage you're in. Does anybody know what I'm talking about when I say that? And we'll circle back to that. From here, when you take action, you're recording these trades in your trade journal, which is provided for you. Steve Mercer, who's on this call right now, he was one of the guys that helped us, Darren, and build this amazing trade journal that is specific to our strategy, with key components to it that will extract information for you that will actually move the needle if you do it correctly. And then we're taking snapshots and keeping a chart book. And then you're also recording in your market biofeedback, identifying emotions and fears, and then getting to the root of those. When did they happen? Why did they happen? And what can I do differently so that they don't dictate my actions, negative actions? From there, at the end of the sample size, or at the end of the month, which one you do. Some people like to do every 25 trades. That's when I'm going to start backtesting. Some people just do it on a monthly basis. I guess it depends how many trades you're taking on a monthly basis. But whenever that is, at the end of the month or sample size, that's when you backtest and review your trade journal, your snapshots, your before, middle, and after snapshots, higher time frame snapshots, and then your market biofeedback. And when you do that, you're then extracting your strengths and your weaknesses using a SWOT analysis. All of these things that I'm talking about are available to you in this community. But this is the stuff that people don't want to do, because this isn't chart related. You guys want to know something? I've built a high-end course, EFXU. A lot of you are probably in there. There's 8 weeks. Within these 8 weeks, some weeks have 10 different modules, some have 5, whatever it might be. Do you know how many weeks are actually about the charts and the actual strategy? If you had to take a guess, out of the 8 weeks in the countless modules, how many do you think are how many out of those do you think are actually dedicated to the strategy and what we do on the charts? Take a guess. Out of the 8. 2. 2 out of the 8 weeks have to do with the charts. 2. So it's about 25% of the equation. What we're talking about today is another big part of it. Another 50, 60%. right? So then we're extracting our strengths and our weaknesses using a SWOT. From there, that's where you determine what stage you're in, right? So this isn't something that's going to be determined in 1 month. You're building a sample, right? You want to prove, and what we're doing here is we're building our trade plan, right? So from here, you determine your stage. If you recognize after, 3 months that, the negative results, you're in stage 1. And then you come up here and you apply those changes that you extracted here and here to your trade plan. And then you rinse and repeat for the new month, and you circle back to take action. And that is the process here, right? If you move up and you recognize that you're in stage 2, in 1 month of break-even results does not mean you are in stage 2. Just like 1 month of profitable results does not mean you move over to stage 3. It does not work like that. But if you say like 3-4 months of results between -5% and +5%, and you're hovering around that neutral zone, that's a positive thing. It means you're progressing. It means you're learning and extracting strengths and weaknesses. Hold on a second. But there's a different approach to all these things, right? There's a different approach to stage 1 and stage 2, and things that you should be focused on and things that you shouldn't be focused on, right? Then when you recognize you're in stage 2, this is the same process, and you keep doing this cycle until you recognize that you're in stage 3. And this is stage 3 is profitable. Stage 1 is ground floor losing, right? You don't know what you don't know yet. You don't know your strengths. You don't know your weaknesses. You don't know what patterns you're good at. You don't know what pairs, you read the best. You don't know which pairs are the worst for you. But I can tell you this, stage 1 does not involve lower timeframes. It doesn't involve trade management at all. It doesn't include moving to stop loss to break even. It doesn't, who here is doing those things? It doesn't involve trading indices. It doesn't involve trading metals. It doesn't involve managing your trades, like I said. And there's multiple other things. And another big one in stage 1, you're not focusing on winning and losing. You're not focusing on the end result. Who can tell me why? Who can tell me why? I got to fix this mouse highlighter real quick. By the way, it's super cheap in relation to that knowledge I get. I have friends who have spent $10,000 learning, but the 95 is taught. Yeah, you want to get your bias correct. Yes. Yeah, you want to be focused on data collection. You're trading for data, not results. But why is that though? What is the big thing? Yeah, it's all about gathering data, but get a little deeper into it. Where is, 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to, maybe it's this one. Finding your edge within the edge. That's part of the process of stage 1 and stage 2. What we're doing, finding out what kind of trader you are. That's also what you're doing in stage 1, stage 2. You're not associating. Yes, Giuseppe. Read what Giuseppe wrote. Read what Giuseppe just wrote in the chat. He said, you're not associating doing right or wrong with wins and losses. A lot of people, when they come in, especially when they're brand new, that's how they validate what they're doing. If they're getting it, if they're understanding it and doing it well by winning trades. And losing trades is the opposite. Losing trades is, I'm not understanding this. I don't get it. But in reality is you just don't know what you don't know yet. You don't know your strengths and weaknesses, and you're most likely not following this. And that's why it's important. If you don't insert the right approach based on what stage you're in with this roadmap here, with this flow chart, you're never going to transition to stage 2, and you sure as heck won't transition into stage 3. Because once a trader is focusing solely on making money and the profits, the result of losing just turns into disappointment. And then it's the experience of that disappointment is just something that's going to crush you with negative emotions and make you just go crazy. And then the problem becomes not how we handle the losses, but the fact that, and not the fact that they actually just occur. So you have to shift your paradigm, which is a conventional paradigm of validation. Yeah, see what you're good at. Who here is doing this process to the letter with the right approach? Drop a 5 in the chat. And the crazy thing is, like, if you are, especially if you've been in this community for a while and you feel like you have a good, grasp of things, like the educational side of things, like where I'm talking about, the charts and the strategy. And if you feel like you have a good grasp on it, but you just have no idea why you're not seeing the results that you want to see, well, this is bridging the gap for you. This is how you do it. And the majority of people who feel like that, they're just not doing this. They're just not doing this. And then it just comes down to, are you willing to do whatever it takes to get to where you want to go? The people that you see having success, the people that you see getting funded, and the people that you see scaling, this is what they did to find their edge, to find what they're good at, to find which emotions were holding them back, which fears were holding them back, when those fears were kicking in, and what they can do differently about it, what those fears and emotions were causing them to do. That's why trade management is eliminated in stage 1 approach, among many other reasons. And one of the biggest ones is you're training yourself to think in probabilities. And that can't be done if you're doing this process on a live account with the wrong approach. You have to, and the crazy thing is, like, this phenomenon I'm talking about is something that people won't acknowledge. That if I tell you, hey, if you're trading minimum 1 to 5 risk to reward, and when, let's say 19% of your trades, you will end up with a positive result. Most people can't wrap their mind around it or accept it until they actually experience it for themselves. I'm not, brother. We'll be honest. Work lately is taking up 18 hours a day, 6 hours, but I'm carrying. But here's the thing with that, man, right? Everybody is busy. Everybody has families. Everybody has jobs. Some might be more demanding. Believe it or not, the majority of people who have come to me, especially when I started doing private mentorship, like back in the day, were people who had very high demanding jobs, very well paying jobs. I'm talking about lawyers, and I'm talking about doctors. One of my first private mentor one-on-one was a doctor. Do you want to know how many hours they worked a week? 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week. And that was the big reason why they wanted to trade, because it was just taking too much time. But here's the thing. You still have some time available. It's just using that time that you have available the right way, in the most effective way as possible, and efficient. So if you only have 1 hour a week, right, you have to use that time to the best of your advantage. And that doesn't mean I'm just going to watch trainings and then mark some stuff up and then sling some, trades into MPU4 and hope for the best. You can still do this process. It's just going to take you longer. Like, people don't realize that too. Like, will I be able to do this with a job? Do I have enough time? I've never, you don't see too many people come into, training education or trading education and trying to learn stuff like this if they have all the time and money in the world. It's because they want the time or the money. That's why they got into it, not because they already had it. And if they have one, they don't have the other. If they have money, they don't have time. If they have the time, they don't have the money. They want the other thing or both. Tim Grover says it's not time management, it's focus. My man, I love it. That's spot on. It's spot on. This is focus right here. This is focus right here. Does this roadmap, like, is what I'm talking about giving you clarity? Is it showing you what you need to be doing? Is it giving you a kick in the ass? Because I mean, listen, anything that is worth having, I can promise you right now, it absolutely sucks to get there. Like, building EFX as a company over the last, I don't even know how long, 2 years, was not an easy process. We had to build everything from ground floor. But now we're at a level where things don't suck. It's scaling now. It's optimizing now. When I was building my trading and learning and where you are, it sucked. But what doesn't suck is now. The process that got me there sucked, but getting there doesn't suck. That is a temporary thing. So bust your ass, do what you need to do, and just follow the blueprint that's laid out, and it will suck. So what if it sucks for 6 months or 12 months? You have the rest of your life, and it's gonna pass no matter what. So wouldn't it make sense to just bust ass and do the shit work for 6 to 12 months so that you can live the next 10, 20 years, however the heck you want? Not having to worry about money or paying the bills, and have security for your family and time to do whatever you want with your family. Make a commitment right now. Say, I commit in the chat if you're committed to doing that. And I'm going to look at the names and I'm going to write down the names. I'm going to hold you to that. And what I just said to you right there, that's like one of the biggest reasons I am where I am right now, is because I came into this not like asking questions like, how much can I make in like 30 days or 90 days? Like, how long will it take me to make $10,000? How long will it take before I start making $100,000 or enough to quit my job? I said, I don't care how long it takes or what I have to do. I'm going to make it happen. If it took a year, awesome. If it took 5 years, I was willing to do that. I've done longer bids in jail. Come on. You mean I can't bust my ass for 5 years to do something better for my family? Come on. If it means my daughter will have security and be set up for the rest of her life, even after I'm gone, that's what I'm trying to do. I've been running 2 businesses. You can find time if you want this. 3 years on, I'm going to be a full-time trader Feb March, my man. And I 100% believe that. Like, if you want to talk about long days and busting your butt, like, and like what Gregory said, it's a focus thing. You want to know how many hours I put in this weekend? You know how many hours I spent in the last week in this office without seeing my daughter or Katie? The only time I did is when they were going to bed or going down for a nap, or when I went down, to get some food. I was putting up 20, not 20. I think I did like 14 straight hours on Saturday. I think I did 16 straight hours on Sunday. And when I mean straight, I'm talking about only walking out of this office when I have to go to the bathroom or just grab a drink. And I probably had 10 water bottles lined up on the floor next to my stand right here. That's committed. That's doing what I got to do while everybody else is out partying and doing whatever. I'm setting up my future and my daughter's future. Getting ready for 2022. Preparing EFX for 2022. And my trading for 2022. Winners push through the suck, do the grunt work, watch the paybacks. 100%. You know what's funny too? When we first came up with the idea to build EFX, we knew to get to a certain level that we initially gauged it being 3 to 5 years. And granted, we did it a little bit sooner than that, but we also found out who a lot of our real friends were too throughout that process. And we even had people very close to us tell us, and this is something all three of us can quote because it stuck with us and it literally fueled us to do this. We had somebody relatively in our circle, relatively close to us, tell us that, not directly to our face, obviously, but that we're wasting our time and we won't make it work. That it's too much involved to run that type of business. Well, watch us. They underestimated the work ethic and the drive and the why. And that's not a brag. It's just, if you look at certain people, it's just, I don't build successful companies because I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm not a successful trader because I'm the luckiest guy in the world. It's just because of the winning mindset and the whatever it takes mindset, and just doing the grunt work, knowing what the other side looks like, especially going through that process with trading. And just having realistic expectations. My wife has doubted me. Oh yeah, I mean, trust me, that's part of it. My mom literally doubted my trading until her Christmas gifts and birthday gifts upgraded. And she came down to our new house. That was the only, and I'm talking years later, probably like 3 years into trading, where like she was always asking me questions and this and that, but like you could tell with her tone that it's just one of those, another thing, how long before, and especially like when we had Emma on the way and I made the decision to quit the job, and she was, hey, you got a baby on the way. Is this the smart decision? Is it the safe decision to do? Right? I mean, there's always going to be people like that. And it's usually people that are very close to you. And it took my mother 3 years to recognize, like, we're actually doing something that is pretty substantial. But like that, you can take that and let it get to you. And usually it's just a misalignment with their vision. God gave you that vision, not them. That's why they can't see it. My mother didn't have my vision. God didn't give my vision to my mother. So she couldn't see what I was doing or where I was going or why I was doing what I was doing. Same with now. Like Katie gets it. Like she knows, she's messaged me and says, listen, like she's having hard days with Emma and I'm up here. But she knows, right? And I can probably pull up the text message. She knows we've been through this before. It might suck now, but we know what the other side is. And I trust you. yeah, use it as determination for sure. 100%. Like for me, I like to use it as fuel, especially that person close to us. It was just like, man, like it lights the fire under my butt because you want to prove them wrong, you know. Moms are the best, yeah. And now I can spoil my mom because I mean I was a shithead when I was younger, and I put her through hell. Like if you ask my mom if I'd be living this life back then, man, when she was like going to court, getting me sectioned and looking for me when I was homeless to give me like $5 or, you know, crazy, or stealing her jewelry and doing crazy stuff, she would have never expected it. But now she's seen the other side, and now I can take care of my family. F that shit, sorry for the language. They clearly don't know you, Joe or Bogdan. Well, I mean, I'm so lucky my parents and wife believe in me. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, you know, there will always be people who believe in you, and then there's people that, you know, envious of you, or you know, kind of hoping for your downfall, or whatever it might be, or just doubt what you're doing, or just don't understand it. And I mean, that's just part of it, man. And then there's always going to be haters. You know how many times I get called a scammer on a weekly basis, you know, and that stuff used to really bother me. It used to. I used to look at the comments or like emails, and you know, he's not what he really is saying. He's, you know, I mean, you guys saw a guy recently posted, I mean, you know, he's not really trading 7 figures, blah, blah, blah. Like that shit used to, that used to bother me, but now it's just, I'm on a different path. God gave me this vision. Yep. That's what's up, bro. You turn it around. Yeah. I mean, it was mainly because of my daughter, but it's just, you know, there's a recipe to this, you know, to being a successful trader. And there's just certain components, you know, everything that we're talking about. Yeah, we can look at the roadmap and show you exactly what you have to do. But same thing, like I said, like with being you know, a stage 3, stage 4 trader, you know, it doesn't mean I'm bulletproof or that I've arrived. There can definitely be things that happen that, you know, throw me off, or whatever it might be. Right. I mean, there's always going to be stuff and challenges and trials that you're going to have to go through. It's just part of being an entrepreneur. It's part of being a trader. It's part of success. Like, you know, creating EFX, creating my business for trading. You want me to list the number of challenges I had? I mean, I'd be writing a book, literally a dictionary size book. You know, that's just part of it. It's not just a streamlined straight shot to, you know, that thing that you want. You know, it's this roadmap is part of it. Dealing with emotions is another part of it. I talk about this quite frequently. There's 2 different mindsets that you need to have to be successful in whatever it is you're doing. If we're talking about trading, there's a success winning mindset, a 7-figure mindset, and then there's a trading mindset. 2 completely different things, 100%. But they're both required, and it's just a lot of people leave things out, or they try to make a cake leaving out certain, you know, ingredients, or they try to swap out different ingredients, and then they wonder why their cake doesn't look like the cake that other people are making, you know, or it doesn't taste the same or look the same, whatever it might be. You know, most people 9 times out of 10 get in their own way. That's usually what it is. So I'm taking a note. I'm snapshotting everybody that said I'm committing. And we'll see if you really do. I hope you do. My hobby is very negative, constantly puts me down, hard for the mindset. I use it looking for freedom. Joe, you know, he's somebody in my inner circle that, you know, his wife doesn't understand entrepreneurship, and she comes from a family that works 9 to 5s, and they have kids, and some people just don't have, entrepreneur. You got to be a little crazy, right? I mean, to be a trader or an entrepreneur, you got to be a little crazy, right? But a lot of people just don't see that vision, or what you're trying to do. It's just, you got to block it out. You got to have the blinders on, and like Greg said, referring to what Tim Grover said, it's focus, and blocking out the distractions. The shiny objects are another one. Don't even get me started there. And just follow the path. That's it. Like, you guys want to know how to be a successful trader that can scale to any amount of money that you want, investors, whatever it is, it's right in front of you. It's right there, right here. But of course, this isn't everything. There's other components that we're talking about here. Hell yeah, crazy, bipolar, 5150. Oh yeah. Speaking of wise.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Bubba. Come here. So, Aaron, how did I do for winging it? Did it turn out to be one of those?
You said you made him cry.
What?
You said you made him cry. Hello, Daddy.
Hello, George.
Hello.
You say hi, everyone?
Hi,
Want to show them George? Is that your buddy? Hi, Emma. Your nose is getting better. They're all saying hi to you, and they're saying hi to George. Yeah, her nose is definitely a lot better. The scar is fading. The scar is fading a little bit, but she's young. Hopefully, 2-3 years, you won't even see it. But yeah, it's getting a lot better. She's definitely a little scared to do things. Like, Katie brought her out to ride the bike the other day, and she said,
Hey, Daddy, I ride my bike very fast.
I know you did.
Can you tell them I ride my bike very fast?
I will tell them. But she was initially like afraid to get on the bike, because for those of you who don't know, Emma had a very terrible accident a couple months ago, and she split her nose literally all the way through in half. And she had to have surgery twice, like ended up being like 30-40 stitches. But she got on the bike the other day, and it's a really cool video, because she didn't want to do it, and she said, I want to give up. And that's one of the things that we instill in her, to never give up. If you can't do something or figure it out, what do?
Get back up.
Get back up. And we try
Again.
there we go. And she didn't want to get on the bike, because she said, I'm afraid to do it because I don't want to hurt my nose again. But she ended up doing it, and you drove really fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ended up doing it.
I want to say everyone to the moon.
Yeah, you're gonna go to the moon. I seen Mom's video, Emma. You were really fast. All right, well, give me a kiss. I'll see you in a few minutes, okay? I gotta finish up. Love you. Don't forget George.
Don't forget Georgie. Oops, I can't get my monkey.
Okay.
Come on. Come on, you monkey.
But yeah, she's doing a lot
Bye,
better.
everybody. Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Bob. Out of the months of babies. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, I try to. I mean, that like, she's the reason why my life is what it is right now, 100%. I fought to turn my life around, save my life, so I could give her a better one. So I mean, that's a big part of the equation is just finding what really lights that fire under your butt. Having that drive. I would do anything for her, literally. I mean, I would die for her. So if it took me 3 years to build a business, if it took me 5 years to be a successful trader for her, I was prepared to do that. I was physically and mentally prepared to do that. So whatever that thing is for you, and it can't be to quit my job. It can't be to just make a lot of money. Like that's the byproduct of it. That will come with success. But it has to be something, your reason, your why, that you get up and that you do this and do the grunt work and show up every single day, even when you don't want it. People ask me, how do you be consistent? I just do it. I just do it. Days that I don't want to do it, I just do it. Weekends that I don't want to spend, my weekends are usually with my family doing whatever, traveling or whatever. Like right now, we're just in grind mode, and I got to do what I got to do. But the other side of it won't suck when it's done. So it's just, I didn't want to spend 30 something hours in my office this weekend, but I did it. You just got to do the things that, suck and that other people won't do, so that you can have the things that other people can't have. Known you, Danny, for 20 months, and you have helped me to no end, even outside trading. For that, I'm truly grateful to you, Katie, Joe, and Bogdan. Appreciate that, man. Much love. Appreciate it. Bro, just ask Katie. I hit her up right before she came in, straight fire today. Thanks, man. You were right. And it ended up, I was nervous for a second. I thought, what are we going to talk about today? This call is going to be a bust. And I think it might have turned out okay. I also want to apologize for this morning on the chat, because I know we have a lot of people in the community, and if you don't know me, it might have made, appeared like I was a hothead. That situation this morning was just, I was perfectly fine. I was calm. That wasn't an emotional decision or a reaction. It was just, we have no tolerance for negativity, and especially if somebody's going to spit in my face. And that specific person, you might not even know what we're talking about, but I do feel like I need to apologize. That is somebody that's been in this community for a year and a half, and that was probably the third time that we've done that and booted them out and gave them another chance. It's just somebody that is behind a lot of negativity, that we've given multiple chances. But I just have no tolerance for somebody that's just going to be blatantly disrespectful or negative. So, but I apologize. That should have been handled differently in a private setting and not in that group chat. So for that, I apologize. No, that's actually a part of EFXU right there. I was just kind of giving you guys I was just sharing that. That's all talked about in all the trainings within EFX, and now you guys have it. You can take snapshots on your phone or your computer. I mean, this will be a recording posted shortly. No, I mean, you probably did. Most people probably don't even know what I'm talking about. Some of you might. It was just an incident with somebody who's just usually the one behind it. This morning. Always love the freestyle. There are so many people living their dream life. Thanks to you and this team. Grateful. For sure. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Would you say trading was easier for you because you played poker and knew numbers already? I think that benefited my mindset, because trading and poker are very similar in terms of they're both games of probability. They're both about risk and capital management. Like, you're not going to go sit at a poker table. If you got $100,000 to play with, you're going to sit with a certain percentage. It might be 10%, whatever it might be. And then same thing with hands, right? I mean, you can have the best hand. You can be all in with aces versus kings, and those aces can be, you can lose. Just like you can have your ideal setup, perfect signature pattern, everything perfect, and it can still lose. It's just, being able to deal with the variance and the emotions that are attached to that, and playing your edge. So knowing that it's going to play out, like, if you have an edge that is statistically proven that it will have a positive expectancy over a bigger sample size. So I think that was a benefit for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was like, a huge like uplift, like a huge like missing link or anything. It was just, I still had a lot of work to do. But they were very similar. They were very similar in that regards. But it's one of those things where, when you look at successful poker players or, successful gamblers, whatever it might be, sports or, trading, it is just one of those things where a lot of people try to look for validation in their results, and it's like gauging if you're, a good player or not, if you win more hands than you lose in poker. Just like with trading, it's validated if you win more trades than you lose. That's how you're going to be, that's your validation. When it's the opposite, I mean, you can win way less hands in poker, but still have a positive outcome. Same thing with trading, so it's acknowledging and actually applying your edge and realizing that if you play the numbers game, which this is, and train your mind to think in probabilities, which usually you have to experience it to actually see it and acknowledge it and feel it and believe that it's actually true. That's how it was for me, at least. Like, I needed to see the numbers play out for myself to actually say, like, oh, okay, so I don't have to win 50+% of my trades, to see a positive result. Experiencing that, like, I mean, I'm sure many people can relate. You have a sample size of 25 trades, you see 4 winners, but you have a positive outcome. Who here has experienced that firsthand and know what I'm talking about? You have like 20+ trades, you win maybe 20%, and you or whatever it might be, and you see a positive outcome. That's a powerful thing to see. And when you see that, like, then it's game on. Like, it changes everything. There have been talks in the past that the group chat will be scrapped due to the fact that some individuals can't play by the rules. Is that what you're playing? No. I mean, it's just, we give people chances. Like, we've done it before. And if they continue it, then they're just removed. I mean, the group chat, we haven't had any trouble with the group chat. The group chat's pretty well run. And for the most part, people are very positive and use it for what it's there for. There's always bad apples. It's just part of the game. I mean, we've had close to 5,000 people walk through these doors. There's just gonna be some negativity, but they get weeded out. But we know a lot of you really like the group chat, and myself, I'm very active in it. I'm probably the most active person there. So I know that people, like having that close proximity and see the benefit there. So we're not planning on getting rid of it. I'm out again. Fire, much love. All right, my man. Does trading live with your partners make it better, less boring? Yeah, I mean, trading's a lonely thing. So I mean, I would prefer trading with people. I do, whether it's Brooks, Luke, or both. A lot of it is literally just us sitting here and waiting for things to set up or give us the entry or whatever it might be. So. What about setting up a live trade room for us to trade together, the members? I would have to talk it over with everybody first. We usually, anything like that, it's just usually something that's brought to, we have like weekly huddles and monthly meetings, and we have advisors involved, and everything that we do is pretty calculated. And if it's something that is beneficial to the community, you know, we'll talk it over and figure it out, and then make the decision to do it. So we're always all ears and welcome recommendations, or, you know, suggestions or whatever it might be. And then we just bring it and discuss it. And if it's something that we think we'll try it, we'll do it. We've tried things like that similar in the past, and in most cases it can be a distraction. I mean, I see value in it, but I also know that it can be, you know, for what I was talking about earlier, it can be counterproductive as well. So it's just a fine line, because there's so many people and there's so many different stages, and you know, but we'll talk it over for sure. I would like, so what people do in the EFXU group, they have like study sessions. They create little inner groups within it. Like for example, everybody's required in EFXU to have a trading partner or multiple trading partners. They're trading partners / accountability partners. It's a requirement. 95% of the action items, and there's action items on almost every single module, is required. And then, you know, there's a big accountability factor there, but there's a lot of benefits to having a trading partner in study groups. But it's not like anybody teaching, it's just reviewing stuff together. I talked about 2 examples recently, and I was one of them, where I had a friend of mine who became a profitable trader because somebody else saw something in his data that he was recording that he didn't see. And it was, I can't, and when I say this, I'm not exaggerating. I can't even tell you how many times a slight, and I'm talking a very slight minor change, was made to people in stage 2 that sent them flying profitable in trading full time. Like, I'm talking slight changes. One of them being, one guy was trading buys and sells, and we recognized that he was getting slaughtered on buys. Many of you might know him. I'll throw him out there. Janik. He was one of my really good friends. I went out and saw him in London recently. He was not seeing the buy side of things very well, but he could crush sells. I mean, it's literally why there's an invert option on TradingView charts, so you can flip it to what better suits you. And we recognized that he was just doing very well on the sell side of things. He could just read bearish environments much easier and trade them more effectively than he could with buys. So we eliminated all buys, no buying. He only looked for and executed sells. To the moon. To the moon. So when I tell you, I can't even tell you how many slight adjustments that have been made to people in stage 2 that sent them flying. It's literally all it's crazy. It happened with me. My first edge was discovered by one of my mentors. It's good to get an outside point of view. For a trader in the beginning-ish stage, how would you say that they should spend their Saturday, or how would you spend your Saturday? Watching recordings, backtesting using the replay button? No, so I want to do the backtest. You want to backtest what you're doing. Backtesting on charts with TradingView, you know, there can be some benefit to it, but you want to backtest your things that you're recording. I guess, I mean, when it comes to backtesting, you're doing that on a monthly basis, or when you complete a sample size. Some people do it every 20 to 25 trades. Some people, like myself, I do it every single month. some people do it every 20 to 25 trades because they might only take like 5 trades and they want to do it when they have maybe like 20 trades. So they might do it every quarter. Everybody's different in that regards. But I would recommend when you're doing it at first, when you're trading at first, like what it might look like in stage 1, just to give you another little tip here. Stage 1, it could look like for some people trading 8 pairs. And it could be trading any pattern that you think you see in the market. It could be buys and sells. It could be Asian session, New York session. You might be trading, the 8 pairs and executing maybe 10 trades a month. End up with like 40 trades at the end of the month, right? 10 trades a week, 40 trades a month, right? You're throwing a broad range of data through a filtered funnel. And then anything that can't pass through, essentially your weaknesses, comes through the other side, and that's your strengths. And you're extracting that information. So it might be a broader range. And then as you do this process and you extract strengths and weaknesses and things you're doing well and whatever it might be, you might end up in stage 3 trading 1 pair, 1 pattern in a very specific market environment at a very specific time. That was me, what I just described. So you're sanding things down. You're cutting off the fat until you find what you're good at. And it's going to look different for everybody. Like the answers are all going to be in your trade journal. But, how would I spend my Saturdays? I mean, for most people, it's not going to be more market knowledge or education that is the thing that gets them to where they want to go, right? I would limit the back testing to, I mean, it really depends, man. It's really different for a lot of people. I would limit the back testing to, at the end of the month. You don't need to be doing that every single week. I mean, I guess you could if you really wanted to. I mean, it's self-development. You could do trainings. I mean, that's nothing like, it's got to be pretty unique in what you have available for time. And I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't give you like a better answer. I mean, it's there's a lot of variables there, but I mean, I would just, you got to work on a routine. You got to work on a schedule and find the time that you have available and what you're going to work on. Whether it's marking up charts over the weekend, or if you have like 4 hours, that could be 2 hours, self-development. That could be 1 hour training or catching up on recordings from the week. And then 1 hour of marking up charts, getting prepared for the week ahead. Then when you finish the sample size, then it's a weekend full of back testing. And then you could be working with your trading partner, right? The big part of a trading partner is having somebody there to, one, not only look at your data, right? Like I just described, a lot of those people that I've described, it was somebody else, myself included, that came and saw an edge that somebody else, sometimes you can be so in it that you miss things. And when somebody looks in from an external perspective, they can see things that maybe you didn't see. So it's that, and it's somebody there that's going to hold you accountable. And a lot of people need that accountability. If a trader was to trade multiple pairs, what is your max? I say in stage 1, 5 to 7. 5 to 7 pairs. But like that's the end goal is to refine things, right? Brooks trades, it also going to matter with the time frames too. The reason why I say more pairs at first is because I recommend mid to higher time frames. I consider anything lower than the 1 hour being lower time frame. So they take longer to set up. So I mean, the more pairs essentially at first, the more data that you're going to collect. But essentially, you want to shave things down. Ultimately, that's going to look different for everybody. But you want to. Part of back testing is finding pairs that you trade well, and some people read every pair is very different. A lot of pairs have their own unique characteristics. Some people can read and trade some pairs better than others. So those are going to be part of your strengths and weaknesses as well. It's cool. Just wanted your opinion. I get it though. Work on areas that you feel, yeah, I mean, that's ultimately it. You know, it's not just a SWOT analysis on your trading. It's a SWOT analysis on you too, right? So when I do SWOT analysis, we have a company that does it for EFX. I do it for my trading and I do it for myself. So I'm looking at my strengths and weaknesses as a person, business owner, and trader. And then, you know, you can work on, you know, sharpening those strengths and, you know, taking weaknesses that might be able to turn into opportunities. Whatever it might be, self-development, you know, if I also think it's good to like get outside. I also think it's good to read. I also think it's good to eat healthy, drink a lot of water, and exercise. That should be factored into your weekends too. Journal your progress and use that flow chart he showed us. You should tell you how to use your weekend towards growth, for sure, for sure. Where was that question? How much is that? How do I get hooked up? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Maybe. Should you do this for every broker separately? What do you mean by that? I'm not sure what your other question meant either. How much is that? I don't know what, I forget what I was talking about. EFXU, you can just shoot me a message. There's also a button on our website, easyfxtrading.com, and it says apply. And you can hit that, and then it's like an assessment form, and then you can get on a Zoom call with me, Bob, or Joe. And we screen every single person before. It's not, there's not a button somewhere online where you can sign up for EFXU. We screen everybody that comes into that community. It's a smaller community. We have about 120 people in it. Have different brokers, indices. Should you do that? But should you do what for every broker separately? Yeah, I don't trade different brokers. I mean, I guess I do. I have our main broker for fusion markets, and then the other broker I trade is the prop firm, the FTMO. So the trade journal that we have available, it has everything that you should fill in. So I mean, it shows you pick the pair, all of that's in there. I actually uploaded the trading module. There's a new backtesting video in there. I would definitely watch that. We have a trade journal that, do we have to invert the screen and trade it? How, so you go to time. Hey, Dan, it's good to see you too, by the way. So when you pull up TradingView, on the right side where it has the prices listed, if you right click it, there's a menu option that says invert scale. I think you can even also do like Alt S maybe. I'd have to look. I can show you real quick if you want. 1 second. Yeah, so looks like anybody, I posted this in the chat today. Looks like this is looking good too. Yeah, so on the price over here, you just right click in there, and then you can see invert. So it's Alt I believe, but invert scale, and then it will flip it. So like if I was good on the sell side of things, I would just flip gold, and then, you know, it would just, I'd be marking it up from a bearish perspective versus bullish. But just make sure when you go to enter the trade that, you know, it'll show the right prices and stuff, but you just want to make sure you're putting in an actual buy order for it. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure I understand your question, but you can drop it in the Discord too if after the call if you still need clarity. But you know, you're tracking all the pairs inside the journal that's available. you enter all of the information that it requests for every trade that you execute. It has the market bot feedback in there. The snapshots are included. You select the pair. The trade I just posted a new video in the trading module for this, but in the backtesting section for the trading module in the Discord, but you just fill it out. So I mean, if it's US 30, I mean, again, stage 1, like trade management, trading indices, trading metals, trading crypto, trading lower time frames. When I say don't trade those in stage 1, like, I'm not saying you can't ever trade those. I'm not saying you can't ever trade lower time frames or manage your trades. I'm just saying that those aren't things that you do in stage 1 and stage 1 and stage 2. There's a very specific focus and progress and objectives for those stages, and those aren't part of it. What I described today and what I showed you with the flow chart and the approaches that are required for each stage is going to test you. It's going to require discipline. 9 times out of 10, people are going to get in their own way. So remove you from, the picture, and I'm telling you, just follow the path. I'm telling you, the blueprint's there, the guidance is there, the education's there. It's just following it. It's like if I give somebody directions to my house right now, and you put it on your iPhone and Siri tells you the directions, take a left here, take a right here. She's not going to tell you to take a left here. And you're like, I'm just going to keep going straight because I think there's a shortcut if I just keep going up here another 2 miles. And then, I'm going to look for another left, and then she'll just reroute me. Like, don't do that. Just when Siri says left, go left. But yeah, so we're gonna call it there. We've been going. We got a little bit of a late start today, so we ran a little bit longer. We're going about 90 minutes now. Again, I apologize for the late start today. Any other questions before we hop off? I hope you guys were able to get something out of the call. I know we didn't really talk about too much on the charts, and again, I mean, the charts and the actual strategy, it's probably 20% of this equation to becoming a successful trader. So sometimes conversations like this are needed. Sometimes they can be more valuable as well. So I hope you got value from this today. Other than that, next call we got Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern. I don't see any other questions, so I think we will just call it there. So again, I apologize for late start today. Hope you guys all have a great day. Stay blessed, and I will see you inside the Discord. Take care, everyone.